All right, the news that we are breaking at 6 p.m. is an India Today investigation. An investigative ground reports that throws up many questions, unearths many questions that the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal needs to answer. Nepotism charges on Arvind Kejriwal. An India Today investigation has now uncovered how his deceased brother-in-law, Surinder Kumar Bansal, possibly reaped the benefits of power. A firm run by Kejriwal's brother-in-law was awarded several contracts by the PWD department. Let's once again remember the PWD department is held by Satyendar Jain. The bills were fudged, addresses were faked. The addresses mentioned in Sonipat in the papers were fake, only on paper. India Today sent its reporters to Sonipat, where only a patch of land exists. That's on your television screen. This is supposed to be the office of Arvind Kejriwal's brother-in-law, who has passed on last week. India Today had accessed the RTI copies, which showed that the company which is supposed to have executed PWD projects does not even exist. Now, there are certain questions that need to be answered immediately, and the person who needs to do it is Arvind Kejriwal. Number one, tenders, many of them were given to his brother-in-law. Is there a conflict of interest there? We want to say it right out, the fact that he did. Surinder Bansal, Arvind Kejriwal's brother-in-law, who is no more, had the lowest bid, so he got it right. But was there any interference by Arvind Kejriwal himself? That's one question. Question number two, which the RTI brings out to the fore, that he submitted bogus bills. So were those bogus bills actually cleared by the PWD? And secondly, was the job done which he had taken the tender for? That's the question we are going to address right now. India Today's Parbina Purkayastha actually verified that drain project in Bakoli village, which had been awarded to Renu Constructions, which is Surinder Bansal's construction company. The 10 crore construction project was awarded to build a drain near the GT Karnal bypass on the National Highway 44. It appears to be a case of 10 crores down the drain, quite literally. When Parbina visited the drain, she found an unfinished project and a drain project in shambles. These were the visuals of that. The construction work was so poor that hitting it with a stone made it fall apart. Take a look.
I come to you from drain number 6 of Bakoli village. And this drain is not cheap. It is a drain worth 10 crore rupees. 10 crore was sanctioned to make this drain. And this is how the drain looks at the moment. Hardly a year or so, already broken and unfinished, and every step you see such open situation of the drain. Not covered, not completed, unfinished work, and making unhealthy for the surrounding here. What you can see is the sewage water which is not covered. You see dirty water making a lot of mosquitoes breed here and making unhealthy for people here. And also the biggest thing is it is very risky. It might be an accident anytime, and if a car comes in high speed, there could be an accident with this drain remaining open. Remember, 10 crore sanctioned, people not really happy with this drain. They say it makes no difference to their lives. The villagers say they in fact did not even require this drain. The materials used for this drain are so bad that it is already broken. If I can just show you how bad it is, if I try and use this stone and try to hit it with pressure, here it breaks. Here it breaks. So if it is used in full swing, you can imagine how will the drain function and work. And if it is worth the amount released to make this drain. This is just parallel to NH, the National Highway 1, and it is adjacent to this NH1. Just the service road and drain number 6, which makes no difference, no use, and the villagers say this made no usage for them, in fact making it more difficult and unhealthy for the people around. But this costed huge. People paid money. It is the taxpayers' money which was used, making no difference to the people, for the people whom it is made for. With camera person Alok Das, this is Parveena, Bakoli village, India Today.
और ये पॉइंट है मेन वो, और लॉकिंग कहीं भी नहीं, साइडों में आप देख लो, लॉकिंग होनी चाहिए एज पर रूल। ना किसी ठेकेदार का नाम था, ना बोर्ड था कोई यहाँ किसी किसको कंप्लेंट करे किसको ना करे, कहीं भी लॉकिंग नहीं है। ये हर तीसरे महीने को घट जाता है। यहाँ से लेके मैम, यहाँ से लेके और आगे तक 1 किलोमीटर इसमें ना पूरे में पानी, बरसात में पूरा पानी, कोई निकासी नहीं पानी की।
इसमें रफ मटेरियल यूज़ किया है इन्होंने, ठीक है, ये काफ़ी खुला पड़ा हुआ है, इससे काफ़ी लोगों को किसी को क्षति हो सकती है, ना तो इसको ये मिसयूज भी है, और इन लोगों ने इसमें रफ मटेरियल काफ़ी यूज़ किया हुआ है, जिससे अभी ये डैमेज होने के कगार पे। अभी इतना जल्दी बना, इतना जल्दी डैमेज हो रहा है, प्रॉपर इनमें मटेरियल नहीं है और खुला छोड़ रखा है इन्होंने, और देख रेख भी नहीं, इसमें लोग कचरा डाल देते हैं तो ब्लॉक हुआ है, तो आई थिंक सारा यूजलेस है।
All right, so at the back of my colleague Parbina's report there, one question also comes out. Why was patchwork, which Parbina there very clearly established, patchwork masquerading as proper construction, cleared by the PWD in the first place? Many question, but what we have got till now is abject radio silence from the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. We have with us right now, we have Mr. Mohammad Khan from the Congress. We also have Nupur Sharma from the BJP. We'll be joined shortly by Richa Pandey from the Aam Aadmi Party. And I want to bring in our managing editor, Rahul, in just a bit right now. We're going to get in Rahul as well, who's going to take us through this investigation that his team has cracked there. But Nupur, let me come to you. Many questions right now that need to be answered. Let's just start off with that shoddy work that you saw on your television screen. That's the drain. That was one of the tenders completed by Mr. Bansal. And, you know, what seems to be is abject, you know, patchwork masquerading as proper construction being cleared by the PWD.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And this is exactly what I think Mr. Kapil Mishra wanted to point out to. But more than that, I really want to question the suspicious timing of Mr. Bansal's death. I mean, no explanation has gone into whether he was sick for a long time, whether it was an immediate stroke that actually took his life. I heard the Deputy Chief Minister come on air and make tall claims about, oh, he died, how can you politicize his death? Nobody is politicizing his death.
Nupur, we are not talking here about the conditions on what happened with Mr. Bansal. We don't want to talk about the nature of his demise. We don't want to get into that.
But, I agree, but yes. Mr. Kapil Mishra, before he took Mr. Bansal's name, he did rake up, along with the 2 crore bribe charge, he did take up the 50 crore land deal of a 7-acre farmhouse in Chhattarpur.
Nupur, let's restrict us.
And this is a very serious charge.
Nupur, let's restrict us to this investigation. That would be fair. You know,
yeah,
let's not,
absolutely.
Yes,
I agree. So
let me also bring in Nupur at this point of time. Our managing editor Rahul Kaval, whose investigative team has cracked the story there. Rahul, can you just take us through the observations of this investigation?
Let's explain to our viewers what's really at play. Renu Construction is a firm that's registered in the name of the now deceased brother-in-law of Arvind Kejriwal, Swindled Bansal. This company was awarded a contract worth about 9.9 crore rupees Preeti by the PWD department run by Satyendar Jain. In the execution of this contract, this drain, Parveena was there, she was shooting that. They submitted various bills showing that they'd completed the works for making that drain. It turns out that the bills submitted by the company owned by Arvind Kejriwal's brother-in-law are fake. And apart from what Kapil Mishra may say, that's what I'm saying, leave the politics aside, look only at the investigation. The bills submitted are fake is something which is said in a RTI reply submitted by the PWD department of Sonipat. Why Sonipat? Because there's a company called Mahadev Imports. This is the company which carried out the work.
You know, Rahul, you're having a problem with your audio. We're going to try and, you know, correct that. Until then, let me bring in Mr. Khan. You know, Mr. Khan, taking off from what Rahul was saying, there is, you know, let's take away the politics. Let's take away with what's going on, the rhetoric that surrounds us right now. Let's just talk about hard facts. Let's talk about on the back of this investigation. There are questions that Mr. Kejriwal needs to answer. There are questions which has nepotism at play, questions. Why did PWD accept this kind of work? Did PWD actually clear those bills?
Right. So, Preeti, I think the way that Mr. Kaval was also putting it forward, there are two things here, right? First is, there is clearly a nepotism play here. It's very clear. The facts speak for themselves. Secondly, the fact is that even after assigning the project, the work doesn't seem to have been done. As your investigative journalist pointed out, that's a safety hazard right there, right? So what are these bills in lieu of? Now, I want to say something. All of this has to be viewed in the context of the Shunglu committee, and it's important to understand this because that is the context. This is not the first time Mr. Kejriwal has indulged in actions of nepotism. This has happened before. He has given posts to people who are known to him, who are not qualified for them. He's given benefits, governmental benefits to people who are not entitled to them. I'm not surprised. Look, of course, every allegation must be proved. I'm sure there will be. But Mr. Kejriwal's conduct in this entire event is itself something that we must...
And why is he silent? Let's bring our managing editor again. Rahul, taking off from what you were pointing out earlier.
Okay, so Preeti, let's look at what cannot be contested at all. Satyendar Jain, Minister of the PWD department, gave a contract to a company run by Arvind Kejriwal's brother-in-law. This company carried out the work, good, bad, ugly, that we leave on the side. The bills submitted claiming that the work had been carried out are fake. This is said so in a RTI reply submitted by the PWD department of Sonipat. Not just this, the company to which this work was supposedly given, that company doesn't exist at the address. It's that patch of
land which we just saw.
It's that address. Our reporter went there. We kept asking, this is the industrial estate in Sonipat. It's supposed to be B22 industrial estate. This company doesn't exist at that interest. The other thing is that if you look at the income tax returns, all companies are supposed to submit income tax returns, Preeti. If you look at the income tax returns, it says nil, which means
no income.
The company is not showing any transactions, it's made no income. So how then are bills being submitted under the name of that company? Arvind Kejriwal has seen charges against a whole host of people. This is the first time
and they're facts.
Direct charges are being leveled against Kejriwal's own family. It's a very, very serious investigation, this.
Well, you're right there. I believe we also have Parbeena also. You know, Parbeena, you went there. Just take us through, very briefly, we saw your report which you filed there. Very briefly, take us through what exactly did you see. Okay, yes, Parbeena, tell us.
And there was one story of citizens and villagers complaining that this drain makes no difference to their life, and this is constructed in a manner, and technically they were explaining as to how, you know, it is constructed in a manner which makes no sense because it does not even drain out. The water is supposed to drain out in a certain manner. The exit point should slope downwards, but the starting point is actually, you know, upwards. So it is entirely, you know, making no sense.
So it's useless for the villagers around. Parbeena, very quickly, useless. That construction of that drain, useless for the villagers around. It's poor construction. You just banged on it and we saw stuff fall out.
Yes, and Preeti, you know what? The villagers were saying, iski zarurat hi nahi thi hame. That's what they have been saying. Iski zarurat hi nahi thi hame. Waste of money. Aur aap dekh sakte hain, every meter you see it's broken, unfinished, undone. It's just done for the heck of it. It's just not required.
You know, Rahul, unfinished, undone, broken, and most of all the villagers coming out and saying, iski to zarurat hi nahi thi.
Now, I'd say, Preeti, to be fair, whether it was required, not required, is a matter of debate. You know, you can argue it both ways. Some will say yes, a drain is required. Some will say a drain is not required. Let's leave that aside. Let's look only at what cannot be disputed, which is why we've actually seen stunned silence from Arvind Kejriwal himself and from his party on this story. Bogus bills, fake company, money laundering, it's a shell company. The bills are being submitted, and we had Kapil Mishra on our channel yesterday saying that Surinder Bansal, who's a contractor for Delhi Civil Works, comes and attends meetings in the Delhi Secretariat. This is being said by somebody who till last week was a minister in the Aam Aadmi Party. Let's leave that aside. You can't take away the fact that Arvind Kejriwal's brother-in-law submitted fake bills. This has come out through an RTI response, and the company to which the work was given doesn't exist. If this had been a BJP leader who had done this, Arvind Kejriwal by now would have demanded his resignation.
And you have facts, they're right there. And you know, that RTI
resignations in previous cases.
All right. So we were being joined by Richa Pandey. I just want to ask the producers from the Aam Aadmi Party. All right. So suddenly Richa has decided not to join us at this point of time.
No, they haven't said anything. We actually sent them this morning a full note on our story saying this is the story. We're very keen on hearing what you have to say. So far, we haven't heard a word. Nothing.
Well, nothing at all.
That's not surprising. In case you've noticed,
the only thing that we've seen actually is the Aam Aadmi Party say that Surinder Kumar Bansal passed away. Don't raise this question. It's inappropriate.
Of course.
And that's been done even at the level of Mr. Kejriwal's wife.
No, to some extent, you know, the fact that there's been a death in the family is something that anybody would feel bad about.
No, compassion aside, Rahul, these are hard facts.
But these are very serious
These are corruption charges. They are nepotism charges. You have to come out and clear that. Let me come to you, Mr. Khan. I believe Nupur wants to come in on this. Nupur?
Preeti, there's also one more important point in this tender that we are looking at. It also talks of this tender of April 2015. The payments being cleared before the works could be completed. This is unheard of. One, in any government department work. And secondly, currently the courts are hearing this matter. The Economic Offences Wing is arguing this matter in court to ensure an FIR is registered also not only against deceased Surinder Bansal but also against the Chief Minister. So all this compassion in the light of all that was going to be exposed by a fellow minister, I mean, we all know this is all planted. About time Mr. Kejriwal resigned and let an improper, a fair investigation take place against all these nepotism and corruption charges against him.
Right. You know, she has a point there, Rahul, and she says that why was it cleared by the PWD when it's been established that these bills are bogus?
Fair point. And I'm saying again, you know, you can argue should money be given, they get the money and they do it. All these are debatable facts, right? So what cannot be debated is that the company that carried out the work doesn't exist, supposedly carried out. So there's over-invoicing happening, there are fraud bills being submitted, and that company doesn't exist. So those are very, very serious charges.
Can I add something here?
Think about it this way. Arvind Kejriwal's brother-in-law is a contractor who's in and out of the Delhi Secretariat. I thought this is the kind of politics this man was against.
And how is it, you know, Rahul, there are questions that are also going to be raised. How is it that he's got these multiple contracts from the PWD and he's been the lowest bidder each time?
Okay, so I'm saying that,
you know, it's just you know, conjecture.
You know, that's a good point. But I'm saying, let's assume that he actually got it at a less amount, which is fine. He got it at about 46% less than the next bidder, which is the only defense we've heard from the Aam Aadmi Party, that he actually was willing to do it for lesser money. But you take the contract and then what do you do with it? You know, maybe the other contractors were crooks as well, which is why they were submitting very inflated bills and inflated tenders. But you got it. Why is Arvind Kejriwal's brother-in-law involved in this business in the first place? Is that not inappropriate? He's getting contracts from the Delhi government. Is that not a conflict of interest per se? Wouldn't the minister feel the need? It's the same Robert Vatra example. Even if nothing else happens, you don't like this now, then suddenly...
No, I'm quite enjoying this actually.
The minister, he feels beholden to Kejriwal's brother-in-law.
That he needs to.
He comes in and out of the cabinet meetings. This is Kapil Mishra.
I would like to actually speak to the point that you're talking about, Rahul. That's absolutely correct. Look, even aside from the unfortunate demise of his brother, let's look at this purely from the prism of how the Aam Aadmi Party has reacted. When confronted with these accusations, what have they done? They've deflected or they've run away. They've refused to engage in any debate on the issue. You're right.
We had Ashutosh on our channel giving us a moral sermon saying he had no ethics, no morality. He's died. Why are you asking these questions?
So
but it's not about him. It's not about him. These charges are grave and these charges are backed by similar charges in other cases as well. I want to say another thing. Mr. Kejriwal, you're absolutely right. By their own yardstick, by the same high principles that they professed, they would have been indicted by now. Had they even set up the Lokpal the way they were talking about it, they themselves would have been convicted.
Yes. All right, Nuku, come in.
Convicted by now.
Preeti, just to add to what Rahul said, where is the transparency in granting these tenders? And why immediately 2 months after coming into power?
I understand that where is the transparency in granting these tenders was nepotism at play. He got multiple contracts from the PWD. But with what Rahul said and his investigation team found out, let's even give it that on legal grounds. But even then, there are other questions that need to be answered. Rahul, we've been trying to get a response. We were supposed to have Richa Pandey till now. She's decided to back out from the Aam Aadmi Party just a short while back. I believe... Oh, all right, we do have Richa Pandey. Richa, are you with us right now? Do we have Richa Pandey with us? Richa,
yes, I'm here.
Do you have a fair... all right. Have you been watching this investigation? We've informed you about it as well. Do you have anything to say? Any defense at all? Why is it that there's radio silence from the Chief Minister?
Preeti, there is no silence from our side on this particular issue, and as you are aware that in January 2017 a case was being filed with ACB. Investigation is still pending with the ACB, so let ACB take a call. They have not done anything on this. Let them take a call.
That's very convenient. What does the Aam Aadmi Party have to say about the facts at hand? Did Arvind Kejriwal's brother-in-law get this contract, yes or no? It is undisputable that he did. Did Arvind Kejriwal's brother-in-law submit fake bills? An RTI reply says, yes, fake bills were submitted. Did Arvind Kejriwal's brother-in-law employ a fictional company, a company that doesn't even exist? An RTI response says that company doesn't exist in India today. Ground report corroborates that. Our reporter Ram Kinkar Singh went to Sonipat, found a company by the name of Impex Holdings doesn't exist. And that company has submitted in its income tax returns that it has nothing to submit, which means it transacted no business. How then was it generating bills worth more than 2.2 crore rupees? Forget what the ACB will do.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
And you can't hide behind procedure.
So once again, Mr. Khan, let her answer.
So
yes,
on your is, yeah. So today you are all geared up, and I appreciate that you have done certain kind of an investigation. I do not know what it is, the details of which.
The details are with you, Richa.
I am not an authority. I am not a legal person to comment on it also. But please hear me out.
No,
but the thing is that when a particular case is in ACB, it should be investigated by ACB, and if somebody has to be booked, some organization has to be brought to case, then they should be. I mean, I will never say, or even Delhi
government. This is the weakest defense I've ever heard.
From our side
you are not denying. You are not. No, 1 second. What is Arvind Kejriwal's brother-in-law doing attending Delhi government meetings? Kapil Mishra is on India Today saying he attended our meetings. Why is he getting contracts? Is that not a conflict of interest by itself? Is this not what Arvind Kejriwal was lecturing other parties about? How is it okay for his own brother-in-law to be doing this?
And what's the difference in your defense and what you had been charging other parties with? You've come up with exactly the same defense.
Definitely. Are you passing a case, judgment over?
No, we are not. We're only no. Richa, that's wrong. That's
ACB. Let us wait for ACB to judge.
Nobody's passing judgment. This is not a court. Nobody's passing judgment. These are questions that we have put forth. These are questions. No, 1 second, Richa. These are questions that we have put forth.
Are you saying this is not even
your own standard?
I am not defending.
No, now suddenly that you're hoisted by your own petard, you have come out with these explanations.
Please let me hear out. I'm not even defending if there is any wrongdoing. Any particular matter, we should those people who are involved.
All right,
but who will prove it?
Examine later.
Let the particular
investigate later. No, what's very interesting, Nupur, Preeti, is that he's not saying you are sold out, you're a dalal, you're a prostitute. They're saying if there is a mistake, implicit in her statements is the admission that there has been a crime. Yes,
Nupur, yes, go ahead.
I just want to please, you're right, Ms. Pandey, you're not a legal person. I hope you've done your research. This case is being pursued by the Economic Offences Wing before the courts of law for a direction that an FIR be registered against Arvind Kejriwal.
See,
you're happy to know that?
You are putting words in my mouth.
My question is,
all right, Richa and Nupur,
please allow me.
So what we're going to do is,
allow me to cut. My question is, there is a video on record of Mr. Kejriwal saying कि अगर किसी भी नेता के ऊपर शक का घेरा आ जाता है कि वो भ्रष्टाचार में लिप्त है, तो
not one, multiple videos. Yes.
Is Mr. Kejriwal going to resign?
All right. Okay, Nupur, we're going to come back to it. Okay, ladies, Richa and Nupur, we're going to come right back on this story. Mr. Khan's as well with us. Rahul with us there. A quick. All right, at the back of this investigation that India Today has carried out, till now there has been abject radio silence when it comes down to the Aam Aadmi Party. Questions that need to be answered, away from the rhetoric, away from what's going on. Hard facts, questions that are raised on nepotism when it comes down to Mr. Kejriwal, questions on the PWD ministry, questions on exactly how is it? How are the procedures followed? And Mr. Khan wants to come in. We also have Nupur and from the BJP and Richa from the Aam Aadmi Party.
I'll just take 30 seconds to explain to you.
Right.
When projects of this sort, public works projects are awarded, it's not done on the basis of whims or fancy of certain officers. We have detailed protocols and guidelines laid down. The Planning Commission has spent several years on this kind of a study. You carry out a social impact assessment first. Like Rahul was saying that people will differ as to their opinion, but experts won't. आप फैसला कीजिए आपस में क्या ज़रूरत है? Is there a discernible need for this project? If yes, then you put in place a system to find the best person for that. You look at their balance sheet, you look at their previous existence. All of that doesn't seem to have been done here, as proven by
and it's not adding up. There are many questions. And it's just not adding up, and there are many questions. I believe Mr. Khan has to take a leave. Thank you. Therefore, joining us. Nupur, you wanted to come in?
I just want to, in a nutshell, say an unnecessary contract work, a not transparent grant of work to your own brother-in-law, fake bills of fake companies, and the case is currently in court. Mr. Kejriwal is now accused of impropriety, improbity. He should step down, and whether you like it or not, this seems just the tip of the iceberg.
All right, Richard, you know, to come out and say that the case is with the ACB, let it come down, you're just resorting to exactly what you used to criticize earlier with other political parties. These are hard facts. Why is it that Mr. Kejriwal will not come out and answer these pertinent questions?
So, Preeti, I wanted to share with you earlier, and I was cut out of the debate. I want to share that the tendering process for this particular project had happened before our government came into picture.
Yes.
No.
Second is, if the whole second is, we have followed due diligence, and also after the case has gone to ACB, we have given our answers to ACB, and we should, and you should also wait for the reply of ACB and for the verdict of ACB and the other
your
bodies.
Answer to this is that due diligence was one
I
second,
also want to point out that on nepotism, please listen to me.
Okay.
Please listen to me. Please listen to my full answer.
Yes, yes.
We do not do politics of nepotism like Mr. Nitin Gadkari, who invested in Purti Group 164 crores for Mumbai highway. So it's not that kind of politics we indulge into. And our BJP spokesperson is shouting her.
One second, Richa, I want to.
What has happened?
Richa, keep away the rhetoric. Richa,
I do not want to compare.
1 second,
but I
Richa.
want to say, no. The rhetoric is going on the channel right now.
No. How is this rhetoric? Richa, 1 second. Richa, Nupur, 1 second. I need to clear this. What rhetoric is going on?
Please,
No.
Please do not shout.
Nepotism means.
1 second. Nupur,
Nepotism is
Nupur, one second.
nepotism. When you do,
What is nepotism?
when you call a
Nupur,
BJP
1 second.
spokesperson, you should ask them what
Nupur, one second.
Nitin Gadkari did.
1 second.
Nitin Gadkari did in the Purti case.
Richa, let me set the record. Richa, let me set the record straight here. Richa, let me set the record straight here. This is not a witch hunt. This is not a rhetoric that the India Today group is following. These are hard facts based on a ground report, investigative report. Questions? Okay, fine. You are saying that due diligence was followed. Richa, are you with us? All right. You are saying, Richa, that due diligence was followed. He was the lowest bidder. Therefore, he got the contracts. Believed you. Nepotism charges, of course. Is there conflict of interest? Prima facie.
And the tender was given.
Yes, believe
and
you.
the tender process.
Yes, believe you. I'm saying yes.
And the tender process happened before we came into picture.
Okay, I understand. I believe you.
And the tender process happened before our government
before you came into the picture. Okay.
So, in case there is somebody guilty,
yes, Richa, hear me out. Richa, hear me out.
In case somebody is guilty,
Richa, let me finish.
But
Richa, given that due diligence was followed in the tendering process, let's just say, 1 second, Richa, let's stick to the topic, right? Secondly, let's say there was no nepotism in this, even though at the face of it, there is prima facie, it seems, conflict of interest. All right, I'm saying, okay, let alone that be. Can you deny hard facts? Can you deny that bogus bills were submitted? Can you deny that the shell company, which has been floated by the brother-in-law of Mr. Kejriwal, doesn't quite exist on ground? Can you deny that? Can you deny that there were money laundering charges which have now come out? Can you deny any of this?
Have I seen? You will not let me answer.
I am listening. Answer.
Ask the question.
Answer.
And you will only
answer the question.
So the the whole show is basically to answer a question which you are asking, and you are answering the same question.
No, Richa, if you're going to bring up, if I ask you about Mr. Kejriwal and you are going to bring up Mr. Nitin Gadkari, then that's not an answer.
I gave you Nitin Gadkari's example for nepotism. The word nepotism you use.
No.
Nepotism is what Mr. Nitin
Answer
Gadkari
these
did.
questions. Can these hard facts be denied? Can these hard facts be denied?
Nepotism means he should resign.
Nobody is getting into a debate about 1 second. Yeah, Christ's sake. Ladies, 1 second. Nobody is getting into a debate about nepotism. Answer the question.
1
second. Nupur.
So that's
we are not debating what nepotism means here.
Going to allow her to deviate.
There should be example of BJP also.
No, I'll give you an example.
You will not allow.
This is bizarre. It's a bizarre defense, Richa. It's a bizarre defense. You're asking for us to give you an example of the BJP when we are asking hard questions of the Aam Aadmi Party.
About nepotism.
One
Preeti,
second.
allow me.
Yeah.
Preeti, allow me.
No, I will allow you, Nupur.
BJP spokesperson should give an example of nepotism.
I'll give you the definition of
One
nepotism.
second, I'm going to get
allow
you
me.
in. Nupur, I'm going to get
Please
you
allow
in.
me.
I will get you in. But Richa, before I get Nupur in,
Dictionary
answer those
also has
questions.
the definition.
Answer those questions. Can you deny the fact that, can you deny that there were bogus bills submitted?
I have already answered your question many times that the case is with ACB. Let them decide. They have not done anything on this.
Nupur,
and we have given our answers legally.
Yes.
We have given our answers legally. We are saying that the process did not. We were not even there when the process took.
One second.
Ms. Richa Pandey, now please.
And what about Nitin? What about Nitin Gadkari?
No, one second.
That is nepotism.
All right,
I'll answer. The cabinet minister.
Nupur, okay, Richa, 1 second. You know, Richa, we'll have to put your fader down this way. 1 second. Let Nupur come in. Nupur, quickly, 30 seconds, and we'll go across to her.
Quickly.
Yes.
Now, Miss Richa Pandey, is she accusing Mr. Gadkari of nepotism in his private life? Then I'm sorry, she doesn't know the definition of nepotism. Nepotism is favoritism for your kith and kin where kickbacks may be involved. Just in this case, like bills were cleared in the name, fake bills for fake companies were cleared in the name of Mr. Satyendar Jain. Just 2 months within the government came to power before the works were even completed.
Okay.
This is the kind of favoritism that is nepotism on the misuse of public exchequer's money, madam. You know nothing. Go and read the definition of nepotism.
This is not about nepotism.
Because of this, Mr. Kejriwal needs to resign immediately. He is thoroughly involved in corruption. We want to know what was his cut with Mr. Bansal.
Richa, tell me something. Richa, 1 second. Tell me something. Honestly. Richa, 1 second. One question. Can I ask you one question?
He should resign.
Why should he resign?
Richa, 1 second.
No, why should he resign? Where are the
Richa, okay, 1 second.
Who has he favored?
Richa, can I ask you one question? One question, Richa. 1 second, Nupur. Nupur, 1 second. 1 second.
Don't deviate.
All right, ladies, 1 second.
He is corrupt. Don't try to save
Unfortunately, we are...
Mr. Kejriwal came on an anti-corruption crusade of plan.
1 second.
Don't save him.
Richa, from your heart, somebody who's followed, say, the tenets. Richa, from your heart. Richa, from 1 second. Richa, from your heart, somebody who's followed the tenets of the Aam Aadmi Party on what it was supposedly built on. Do you think today, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal at least needs to come out in the open and at least address this question? Do you think, from your heart, from somebody who's fought this crusade, do you think he should do it? Do you think Arvind Kejriwal should come out and say something?
Let me answer. There is Preeti, can I answer?
Quickly.
There is no wrongdoing on our behalf.
Okay.
And if you insist there is no wrongdoing on our behalf, all procedures have been followed by us.
Okay.
If anybody thinks that there has been any breach,
all right. I believe that's all the time we have. Ladies, that's all the time we have for the debate continues. Appreciate you joining us, Nupur. Thank you, Richa, for joining us. That's all the time we had for. The debate will continue at 10 p.m. with our managing editor, Rahul Kawal, with this crack investigation that his investigative team has brought right here on India Today. With that, it's a wrap on 6 p.m. Up next is my colleague Anjana with To The Point.